Hi guys, and welcome to my review of the TRN MT4 Pro. This is the latest IEM from TRN, which is part of a set of a few IEMs which are actually going to be launched now before 11.11. Two of them have already been, this one and the Conch, and others will be launched right after the 11.11 sales. The MT4 Pro was initially, the rumor was that it was a collaboration, but that apparently didn't go ahead, and so it's you could say a full TRN product. Anyway, TRN has extensively changed the tuning and the drivers used in this Pro, be it that consequence of what was being done or not, or in the collaboration, I don't know. But while the original one used a beryllium coated 10mm driver and a 6mm PU driver, these ones now uses a 10 and a 6 still, but both of them are DLC. Impedance has also gone up quite a bit. That one they had an impedance of about 22 ohms. This one is now 40 ohms. And what that basically means is that when you actually put on the MT4 Pro, you notice straight away that it's a harder IEM to drive. It's not difficult, but it's not as easy to drive as the original, and it's a little bit harder to drive. As I mentioned, the tuning has been extensively redone, and at least of the two units that I have, I've got the blue and I've also got a silver. Of the two units that I have, I'm happy to report that in terms of quality control and driver, left and right consistency, channel balance has been very good. I mean, I've still got a third pair which I'm waiting for it to arrive to just confirm. But it seems that this is not plagued by the problems that the original MT4 was, which were issues which had to do with the duct connecting the two drivers. As you can see, well, you can barely just make out. If you look carefully, you can see there's like a, let me see if I can zoom this in. You can see there's a duct there between the two drivers, and that duct was getting clogged up with glue in the assembly process, and it was just messing up the whole sound. I bought 5 sets, and of the 5 sets, basically these two, these 3 actually, were the only ones that I was able to salvage. These ones I got recently, and they are, okay, both left and right channel is fine. These here are part of the first 4 that I bought, which out of the 4, only these 2 survived. The channel imbalances that existed were just enormous. Besides the channel imbalances, there was completely different tunings from 1K up in all 4, and these were the only ones that I was able to kind of get going, and they've both been retuned. And the funny thing is actually that this one, the way I retuned this one, is very similar to what has been done here in the MT4 Pro. But anyway, I'll show it to you afterwards in the graphs. So, in terms of the fit, the Pro fits nicely. It's got no issues. It's not a heavy IEM. It's got a nice blue color to it, kind of like the BQ EYZ, the Winter Ultra, and a few other IEMs, and also the Wind now. It's got that kind of bluish color going for it, which is a very nice color. It's got a nice build. It's a plastic shell, but it's got this like metal faceplate with what seems to be like kind of a a type of an open back design, or semi-open back design. Seems to be like some sort of a grill here in the back of this. Metal nozzle. It fits nicely. It's, like I said, nothing really to be faulted in terms of its build and what is being offered here. This goes for roughly $16, so for $16, what they've been able to achieve here is actually quite spectacular. So yeah, that basically covers. In terms of the accessories, I'm not going to show you because it comes in a very simple box. I mean, it's just the basics of the basics to just get it going. I would recommend changing out the tips and using a better cable. I mean, I'm using here, oops, my God, I'm using here, I believe this is a nice HDK. Let me just confirm. Exactly, nice HDK cable, and I'm using some KB 07 tips, and it works nicely. This combination here works nicely. All right, so what did I select? Well, obviously I had to bring out the MT4, the original one. they both priced sub $20 for a dual dynamic driver. It's, you know, very competitive, and was unheard of until they were released. And then I've got here the CCA Duo, around $34, dual 7mm drivers. I've got here obviously the KZ Caster, the Harman edition. I've got the bass, but I thought it didn't make sense to compare to the bass because of the way that this has been tuned. This is about $15, $16 as well, $15 to $16, so very much similar to the same price as the Pro. And then on this end here, I've got two more expensive ones, just for the sake of comparing these cheaper ones. These two cheaper ones, so this one's a little bit more expensive, but especially these two cheaper ones with something more expensive, which is obviously the Star River from TRI, and the Truth Years, the Zero, the Blue Edition. Onto the sound, which is what we want to know. Okay, while the original, in terms of the bass, and now assuming that you got a good set, in terms of the bass, it was actually a nice IEM. Yes, had a very emphasized mid bass, but it was a nice, fun, engaging bass, bouncy. You know, it would do very good with rock and EDM and other electronic music genres. It was nice. It wasn't the IEM for you to be listening to classical or to jazz or anything of the sort. So it was a decent enough, let's put it that way. Retuned like I've done here on this one and on that one, and they basically are the same retune. The difference here is that this one here is got just a little bit less bass, and actually is almost identical to, in terms of the bass, up to about 2K, almost identical to the MT4 Pro. In this retuned version, obviously, the sound improved dramatically. That mid bass, not thump, but that mid bass excess was toned down, which balanced out much nicer with the mids and the highs that are available from the 6mm driver. And just overall, the sound is a more mature tune. That's it. It's just basically a more mature sound, but it still doesn't lose any of its fun factor. Okay, it's not maybe as thumpy as the stock, absolutely stock version is, but it's a nice sounding IEM. It's good. The stock one, like I said, basically the mids and the highs are the same as the retuned one. There is very little difference, to be honest. It's just the bass that has in that very strong presence, okay, which just kind of it's not bad. It's just the way that it was done. It was tuned to be like that, so that's it. Compared here to the new one, this is a mature tuning, period, end of story. This has now become a mature tuning, and it's got kind of traits of the set collaborator that was mentioned to have, that was at one point involved. It's got those traits of his sound signature there, which is a very nice done and executed bass with a kind of a glide into the mid, so no real unnecessary bloat or bleed or anything of the sort. And in the mids, upper mids and treble, done in a nice manner. Nothing is too forward, nothing is too excessively energized. So what you get is a sound which is basically free of any sibilance or anything of the sort. It's more of a warmer tonality. What you do notice is that somehow, although the sound is nice and it's mature and there's a certain sense of having been well done, it's not really technically something that I would say a standout. Okay, soundstage is a little bit on the closed inside, imaging, basic, nothing special. Detail retrieval, sorry, not as well the best. Look, like I said, for $15, we can't stand here now and, oh no, it should have a soundstage like this and an imaging capability like that and a resolution like that. No. When it comes to the technical aspects of things, this is okay. It's fine for the price. It's fine, but there are IEMs which are better in that, in those areas, and at the same price. So, compared to the original MT4, this is a solid upgrade, a much better IEM than the original. Better tuned, better execution of the bass, better marriage into the mids and to the highs. So vocals are way better than here. Vocals here sometimes were a bit bloated. The saving grace of the original compared to the newest version is the fact that because it has a bit more energy in the upper mids and treble than this one, it kind of compensates a little bit for that excess of the mid bass, and so it's not as blunted the sound, or as camouflaged as you would think. There's actually, I would even dare say, there's actually a pretty decent detailed retrieval considering. But overall, I mean, the MT4 is a better IEM. That's the truth. It's better tuned, better technically. It's just a better IEM. Which of the two will be more fun? Well, that's a different story. I would say that this one will probably be the more fun one, the original. But the retuned one, the new version, rather, let me put it that way, is a much more mature and more capable IEM. This, now you can listen to it with some jazz and some more like acoustic stuff, and we'll actually do it quite well. While over here, the sound just wasn't. There was nothing really shining in the sound. Okay. Anyway, that's the stock one compared to the Pro. Compare then to the selections that I made. Compared to the Duo, in terms of the bass, fine, yes, it is superior. Then again, it's a 10mm, that's a 7. But technically, in terms of the vocals, how they come across and everything, this is a better IEM. It's not as dark sounding, and everything in terms of detailed retrieval, soundstage, imaging, better IEM, without a doubt. This is an IEM that I would even dare say you could perhaps do some gaming with it, while this one, I think it would struggle a little bit. Okay, fair enough, this is $34, so we're talking 2 times the price of the Pro. Does it justify it? Well, it's all the beauty's in the eye of the beholder, I guess. It is a nicely built IEM. The technology used is basically the same, also 2 dynamic drivers. I think the real only flaw here of the Duo is that because it doesn't have a little bit more bass, which is a pity, because apparently these drivers are the same XUN drivers used in the HM20, because it doesn't have just a little bit more bass energy, it just makes this overly clinical, overly analytical, overly detailed, okay, and it loses out a little bit in the fun factor, it loses out a little bit in the engagement factor, and it becomes I would almost say borderline sterile. So if I have to compare, they are so different here that I think more people would probably end up preferring the Pro to the Duo, just because of the fact that this has got a little bit more engagement. Okay, but by no means is this a bad IEM. No, it's not a bad IEM. It's just it's an IEM maybe more focused towards those that are looking for a more audiophile reproduction compared to the Caster. And I don't want to prolong too much this review. This is a better IEM in the story. The bass is as good, if not better than here, cleaner. The mids, the highs are perfect. The vocals, male and female vocals, come across very nice. Soundstage, imaging, detailed retrieval, everything here is superior to the MT4 Pro. That's the truth. I'm not going to deny it. When I show you the graphs, you'll see what I mean. It's just a better tuned IEM. It's got a 10 and an 8mm driver inside, so plenty of bass, plenty bass, nice quality, clean, detailed vocals, everything. It's just a better IEM. And also then it's got still the tuning switches, and just the simple fact that it's got the tuning switches and it costs the same thing as the Pro, this already makes it a winner. So there's more value for money here. Okay, there's nothing here that you can say, okay, I wish it. No, it's got it all. All right, that's it. And then now compared here with the Star River and with the Truth Ears, obviously we are talking about $50 and just over $50. So I mean, you could buy almost 4 sets of Pro. Compared to the Star River, detail wise, vocals, soundstage, imaging, detailed retrieval, this is a better IEM. It's better. Where this maybe loses in terms of overall quantity and not quality really is in the bass. This would ideally need just a little bit more bass to just be perfect. Is the price difference justifiable? I would say yes. Because again, you're getting a more mature tuning here. It just sounds very, very nice, the Star River. I mean, it's not a game changer or anything of the sort. After all, it's $50. I don't think you're expecting that, but it is a nice IEM. It's well built. It's got good quality parts inside. Maybe just tuned in a way too thin manner for it to be really something that stands out. but otherwise it's a better IEM than the Pro. And finally, the Zero, the blue. Again, it is a better IEM than the Pro. I mean, yes, this is $50 or just close to $50, so it's basically 3 times the price of the Pro. But it is just a better IEM. I didn't find that it is excessively bright or anything of the sort like some people maybe complained about. No, it just has got a nice bass. You can see the distinction between the bass and then the rest of the frequencies because the driver being used here for the bass is a larger driver that has been purposely tuned to be cut off and act like, almost like a subwoofer. But funny enough, although it's been done that way, and it's got more of a excuse me, more of a tucked bass instead of a gliding bass, which would mean then that mid bass excuse me, that mid bass impact would be lacking. I didn't really find it to be lacking. It's fine, at least for what I listened. It's fine. It did well with some EDM. It did well with some electronic music, but it also did well with more serious music. Let's put it that way. You know, okay, fine. Ultimately, when you really push the volume, the highs and the upper mids and highs can become a little bit on the edge there, but you know, nothing offensive. For me, even with, you know, whatever flaws that it has and the fact that it's got that significant price jump over the Pro, I still think this is a better IEM. So these two definitely are better IEMs than the Pro. Although, yes, we do have this handicap of the price, and some of you might not be able to reach this value, okay? Compared to the Duo, although quite different as well, I think it's better because it's going to be more satisfying to listen to. And then compared to the Caster, which is basically the same price, I mean, the Caster is a better IEM. I'll say it again if I have to, but this is just a better IEM, better tuned, tuning switches. It's got more bells and whistles to make it come out on top. So yeah, that's my choice. Anyway, I'll show you another graph so you guys can have a general idea of what they've done here on the Pro, and we'll wrap it up. Hi guys, and welcome now to the graph section for the MT4 Pro. Let me just take away some graphs here so that we can see things with a little bit more clarity, and then I can start adding things as we go along. Okay, so this one can go away as well. We don't need that one. This one stays. This one stays. Yes, it stays. And what else? What else must stay here? Ah, okay. Yes. All right. Anyway, guys, this number 5 here is the graph for the MT4 Pro. See if you guys can see this a little bit better. Lighting here isn't exactly helping me out. Let me see. There we go. That seems a little bit better now. Sub bass over bass. Sub bass also slightly above the mids and upper mids. Glides, as you can see, by 200 hertz, it's basically flat. Nice progressive PENON gain, peaks at 2.5 and slowly goes down. So it's got kind of a harmonish tendency. Nice extension, well, at least graph on graph past 10K. Although when you then compare it with the original, which I'm going to show you now, it's not as much as what it kind of seems. This is the original MT4. So significantly more mid-bass, which is very noticeable. And also a lot more energetic, and also you could ultimately say more V-shaped, okay? But it's very noticeable that it's got more twinklies and sparklies over this one. This one has been purposely tuned down, so you know, it makes for a less fatiguing sound. It makes for a sound which is more polished. Unquestionably, it's a more mature tune. That's unquestionable. But it also kind of doesn't help it have the, you know, better technicalities, although like I said, I mean, this is $15, so we can't really complain. But you know, it's a pity, just a little bit extra energy, you know, and I think it wouldn't be fake in any way. It wouldn't be having technicalities which are not realistic, but it would still be better. 8K peak, as you can see as well, a little bit. But anyway, it's a nice tune, the MT4 Pro, and compared to the MT4, it is overall a better tune. That's the reality. The one I'm going to show you now is the actual one that one of the versions that I retuned, and let me actually just do it like this rather. So the blue is the original, the brown is my retune. For some reason, I don't know why it actually did this little dip there, because I didn't really do anything significant for that to happen. What I did do very much so is lower the bass, okay, and then by lowering the bass, and for some reason there was this consequence here, which is this larger dip here in this 5, 6, 7K area. And when you compare it then with the MT4 Pro, it's like I said, the bass is very similar. You don't really notice this difference. What you do notice then is that my version that I retuned, there's a little bit more energy here, which goes towards what I was just saying of, you know, having this little extra energy here and here makes it a little bit more technically capable. Although the graph doesn't look one of the nicest, it is just a little bit more technically capable. But like I said, this is my own personal unit that I retuned and I played around, so this doesn't really count. What does count is the original. That's the original there, okay? Then compared with some of the IEMs that I selected, let me just take away. So this one goes out, the original stays. Where's the CCA? Sorry guys, my apologies. Okay, the CCA first, number 6. Okay, this is the CCA, the Duo. It seems like it's got the same sort of bass, but it doesn't. The bass is significantly leaner. It doesn't have the same weight, the same presence. In terms of the mids, upper mids, and treble, yes, better execution, unquestionably. But because it doesn't have the bass from behind, it makes it sound just a little bit excessively clinical, if you want. It's just a pity they just didn't give it a little bit more bass, especially because I know that this 7mm driver is the same as used in the HM20, and it sounds phenomenal in the HM20. They could have given it the bass of the HM20, and I think the Duo would have been an absolute killer. It wouldn't have lost any of its technical capabilities, and would actually have helped because the extra weight of the bass would have given the timbre and a tonality which is way more correct. Talking about timbre and tonality, the timbre and tonality of the MT4 Pro is actually pretty decent. It's actually quite nice. Everything sounds very much realistic, and I enjoyed it, I have to admit. So compared to the CCA, that's what we have. Compared now to the Truth Ears, again, way more detailed up top. It's unquestionable. Yes, at the extreme it can get a little bit harsh, but nothing aggressive, and you do notice there's more weight in that rumble, okay? Bass overall is very comparable to a certain extent, very comparable. If the song doesn't have a lot of rumble, a lot of low end, they will come across very similar. The biggest difference here is obviously in this area of the upper mids and treble. Okay, so that's that one out of the way. Compared now to the Star Rover, same sort of bass, but because it's got all this extra energy here in this area, it's a way more detailed IEM. Perhaps the ideal would have been kind of the halfway between the two of them, both for the Star Rover and for the MT4 Pro. But look, this is what we have, this is what they graphed, this is what they sound like. One is, let's say, warm, the other one is on the brighter side. They both have the same sort of bass. It's just how then this area here of the mids, upper mids, and treble is affected by the bass that comes from behind. On the one end, on the MT4 Pro, everything sounds more relaxed, more smooth, warmer. On the other one, everything sounds a little bit brighter, more detailed, better for vocals, better for detailed retrieval, more twinklies and sparklies, but also it can be maybe a little bit too much for some and maybe a little bit too harsh. Overall, I still prefer that over the MT4 Pro. Just because I've got that little extra amount of detail, which I think is what is missing in the MT4 Pro. It's just a little bit more of detail. Like I said, I've got a third unit coming in. The two that I have, they graph the same, so I'm hoping it will be graphing the same. I don't think there's going to be much change, but it just needs a little bit extra treble, and it would have been perfect. Again, mind you, please keep in mind I am going there, so maybe it has got enough treble. And then finally, compared to the KZ, the Caster, the Harman Edition, It's just, look, I get, this is just me now, I get the feeling that something along the lines of the caster is what was maybe being attempted, because the base is very similar, everything is very similar, very similar. So I think that was maybe what was being attempted, to do something which sounded like the caster, and if that had been achieved, then the MT4 Pro would be a serious contender in the sub $20 market IEM. And especially for a dual dynamic, especially for dual dynamic. But I'm guessing the reason why it was hard to do that was because of the fact that you have in the MT4 two drivers sitting next to each other, side by side, while in the caster you have the drivers mounted coaxially, and that allows for a better phase relation between the two drivers, and so better marriage overall. Anyway, guys, this is the reality. It's the MT4 Pro compared to its original MT4 is a superior IEM. It is maybe what it should have been launched from the first go. If they maybe had launched this as the original MT4, now in the Pro version we would have gotten that improvement that I'm talking about here in the mids and in the highs. But you know, the reality is this. I'm sure it will find people that will enjoy it. Although it does have tough competition, and that tough competition is the caster. There's no way in denying that it's not a good IEM. You know, if we deny it, we're not being fair, we're not being just. It is a good IEM, and in this particular case, I feel that for the same price, if it was not the same price, it'd be be different. But for the same price and offering what it offers extra, it's the wiser, the smarter choice to do. All right. Anyway, guys. Any questions, as always, please feel free to ask me and I'll do my best to answer. You take care now. Bye-bye.